Enterprise is clear for departure.
Well, hello again, guys. I'm about ready to start doing some detail paint work on the saucer top here, and I get a lot of questions asked of how I do some of my paint work, so I thought I'd take a second here and show you what I'm going to do here and talk about some of the things that I use. If you're going to do any kind of painting work, and especially with this type of work, where you may be pulling your tape and doing a lot of different applications, you want to make sure you invest in some good masking tape first of all. And always, if you're going to buy some masking tape, there's the cheap stuff out there that's usually white that you can use for general applications, but this blue tape made by either Scotch or 3M is the way to go if you're going to paint something really detailed like this and you're expecting it to turn out nice and clean. The nice thing about this is that it sticks to almost anything, and the adhesive that they use on it is a higher quality than the standard masking tape, and you don't get any residue left over. The adhesive on the back side here is really clean. If you stick this down on something and pull it off, there's no residue left over at all. So this is the way to go. It's available in several different widths. You can get anywhere from a 1/4 inch all the way through 2 inches thick. This one's like 1.5 inches. I have it in different sizes on my little rack over there depending on how big of an area I'm going to cover. And then one of my favorites to use here, especially for doing this model work, is this 3M vinyl tape. This particular roll that I have right here is a 1/16 inch thick roll, and it's very flexible, so you can go around curves and in small areas and not get any kinks when you try to make it conform to a shape that you're working with. And as I'm about to show you, I'm going to show you how easy it is to use this stuff and mask off this phaser ring that's on top of this saucer here. I've gone in and I've mixed up some dark gray paint to do that with. I've got it loaded in my airbrush here. When I come back, I'll change the camera position and I'll show you from start to finish how easy it is to paint this ring and do all the taping on it. So I'll be back with that in just a second. Okay, so we've got the inner ring to do next. The outer ring is done, and I'm just cutting off another little section of tape here, and I'll start off and get another section taped in. And if you want to, you can start off to help keep it straight. You pull your, start off with your tape a little bit past what you're going to do, kind of like that, and just start going for it. And again, I'm just going to follow this contour real nice all the way around the edge, keeping it right up against it. And sometimes you'll get you'll find it a little bit hard when you first start doing this to do it without getting a lot of kinks in it. And the trick to that is just to keep an even amount of pressure. I'm pulling with my right hand just a little bit here to keep some pressure on it as I go along, and that doesn't allow it to fold over too much. And when you stop in a spot, you just take and pull it away from the work. That way when you put your new piece back on, you're not going to have to worry about making an exact seam there. You just lay that over top of it and keep on going. So I'll do another section here. Again, just keeping a little bit of pressure on it. You don't want to pull it to the point where it's stretching, but just enough to keep some tension on there, so when you're laying it down, it doesn't have a chance to wrinkle on you. And these, like I said, these radiuses here are going to be the hardest thing to get used to doing, but you'll get really smooth at doing it after a while. And this tape just works, like I said, phenomenal for doing this kind of stuff. Coming up short again, so what I want to do is just pull that edge down just a little bit. And what you can always do too is when I finish doing this, I'll look at it and see if I'm off just by a little bit anywhere, and you can just come back and lay a little piece of tape over that. The main thing you don't want to do is go over. If you're away from it a little bit, the area that you're going to be painting, that's just fine. It won't be a problem. You can come back and put another little piece and kind of clean that up, but you just don't want to be over the work because that's an area that won't get painted. Okay, so take this end and pull it away. Okay, you can see right there in just a couple of seconds here I've gotten this whole thing done. Now what I want to do now is just look at it and see if it's fairly straight. It looks like there's a couple spots where I may have missed the line just a little bit on the outside edge. So that's an easy fix. You just take some of your little piece here and just cover that little section right there that looks like it's over just a little bit, or actually under. Okay, that looks good. I've got a spot here where that, right where that gap is, where I can see where it's just a little bit off. Just add this little piece in right here, and again, curving the edges away so it doesn't hang over the work. And the rest of this I'm pretty happy with. Now, the easy part now is to come back with this thicker tape and just come right up to the edge that you've done your flexible tape with. I'm just showing you, people have asked me how I paint these models so fast or whatever, but this is just how I've learned to do it. Masking is not that hard. You've got to learn how to use your different tapes and how to back tape and do some different little tape techniques that allow you to make quick work of this stuff. And you won't be worrying about, you know, spraying or getting overspray on it. Now, using an airbrush too, I'll show you what I'll do for that. Since I probably won't cover up the entire model, I definitely won't be covering up the entire center. I'm just going to go around and mask fairly close to this line here. Again, I'm making sure I just don't go over the vinyl tape edge of the work in the center that I want to paint. Cover this section here. And you just follow your curves and make sure it's all stuck down really good. Section to cover up there. Okay. Now I'm going to go into the center section. And this tape, again, being it's good quality, it does allow you to make a little bit of a excuse me, a little bit of a radius, but it doesn't have to be so perfect. And if you get a little couple of kinks in this, just as you can see it's doing there, just fold it and make sure it's stuck down really good, and just stay outside that line. And I'm just working it down and making sure the edges of it are stuck down really good. I'm close to the edge there. I want to make sure you don't leave anything bare so you get any overspray in there. Just kind of push that down. Over there. As long as you're pushing it down there good, like I said, this good quality tape will do the work for you. You don't have to push really hard. And, when I pull this tape off at the end, it's going to come off nice and clean. It's not going to pull anything with it. I realize a lot of you guys aren't using airbrushes, but a lot of this same process will work for doing it with spray cans or brushing, anything like that. Just the paint tape off techniques are pretty much the same for that. Okay, that's down there all real good. Now if you wanted to be safe, you could come back and you could tape off this whole center section, but I'm going to show you with spraying with your airbrush at low pressure, you'll be able to knock this line down on here just perfect without getting any overspray on this area at all here. Now what I'm going to do is, you can see that the very tips of the banks are have that slight little curve on there like that. Now all I'm doing now is just taking this tape and doing a series here of masks, which lets me make that little radius that's on there without doing it and just squaring it off. You just, like I said, follow the edge just like you did on the other prep. Okay, and there we are. We're all set. The it's all masked off, I'll fire up my airbrush now and basically test my paint here and make sure I'm doing what I want and it's looking good. So here we go. I'm spraying this at about half pressure. So that cuts down on a little bit of the overspray. You don't need much pressure when you're just painting a small area like this. If I was painting, like saying at the entire saucer top or something like that, I'd up the pressure and change the tip setting a little bit to get it to fan out a little bit more, but I'm spraying it kind of a fine tip setting right now. And I'm just going to go around and make sure I get a nice even coat on that. Looks good. Okay, in my old force drying technique, I'm just going to knock the edge off this paint so it's not quite so, and I don't know if you can see this on the video or not, but it's literally drying right in front of me. And I like to do this for two reasons. Number one, it helps me work with the part faster. And number two, when paint dries, when it dries, you can see if you've missed or if you're a little bit light on your spray versus when it was totally wet and it was reflecting at you. So I can see already that it's light in a couple of spots. So I'll just touch those up real quick. One more thin coat. The trick to painting and not getting bleed through on your paint or on your tape too is you can see that I sprayed that at an angle to the thing where I'm not trying to edge it up underneath of that edge. I'm spraying kind of straight down and I'm doing it very lightly. You don't need to put a real thick coat on your part, whatever it is, the first attempt to try to make it look perfect. It may take 2 or 3 coats to do that, and then it will come around for you. Okay, just a light dust on with that, and this thing is dry. And I'll show you what we've got here. I'll pull the tape. And this is, you can see I'm not pulling any paint off with it. That's the way to go with, if you're doing this, you got to use good tape, good products to paint, and do your prep work properly. That's the whole key. If you skip anything on your prep work, that's when you get in trouble. If you don't prepare the surface right, if you've got contamination on it. Well, my apologies, everybody. My darn battery ran out on my camera right at the end of that sequence there. But you can see I just finished pulling the tape off of this, and we've got a nice phaser bank painted down on this now. It's already dry just from the using that forced heat like that, and it's ready to work with. And this is pretty much all the paint detail I'm going to do on the top of this saucer. All the rest of the colors and all the markings and everything that are on this are all done with the Aztec decals after that. So I can actually lay down a coat of clear on this now, my gloss clear, and start putting the decals on it. And then I'll work the bottom side the same way, and then put my lighting and everything in this, and I'll be done with this top section. So there you have it. It took me less than 5 minutes to do all that whole thing. So hope that'll work for some of you guys. And again, this flexible vinyl tape is really good for this, and make sure you use some high quality blue masking tape for your projects and you'll come out just fine. I'll see you next time, everybody, and until then, happy modeling.